What is up, everyone? I am out here on a late fall camping trip, and I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to share with you all some changes to the Lexus and the build, specifically when it comes to camping, because what I'm doing on this trip is something very different than what Christine and I normally do when we go out camping. First of all, I'm solo on this trip, and so I have decided to set up the Lexus for solo camping and sleeping inside. And I wanted to see if at 6'2" I could sleep comfortably in the Lexus. And so I think what I'm gonna do next is change cameras, because I've got a lot to go over and I just wanna give you an informal walk around of the Lexus and the current setup. And there are a few things that I think are pretty unique and worked really, really well on this trip. So let me grab the other camera and I'll give you a walk around. All right, and I think the place we need to start is with the drawer system that we're using, because it's really the foundation of this entire camping setup that I've got going on. So we are using the Expedition Series drawer system by a company called SHW Off-Road. This is a fantastic drawer system. We've been using this for the last couple years. We put all of our camping supplies basically in this left drawer, and then in the right drawer, we have all of our kitchen supplies, our pantry, our utensils, etc., etc. And then it also has this built-in fridge slide which tilts, which is super, super handy. So it's all built in, and then there's some storage in the wings. But really, the reason I say we need to start with the drawer system is because there is an add-on for a sleeping platform, and that's what we've got going on right here. It's just this single piece of wood here. It doesn't bolt in or screw in, it just rests on top of the drawer system in the back, and then it just stays level by using this little piece of wood that kind of sits on top of the metal for the headrest. And then you just bring the front seat back until it kind of puts pressure on this, and it keeps it super stable, and it is perfectly level. And the other thing that's cool about the Sleep Platform Edition is that it is in two pieces. The first piece lines up with the smaller 40 split of the rear seat, and then there's another larger wood piece that matches up with the 60 split. So you can opt to use just one, like I'm using on this trip, or you can use both, and I've tested both, and you can actually fit a queen size airbed. We used our queen size airbed that we use when we tent camp, and I was able to just barely stuff it in here. But in case you're wondering, I am 6'2", and I was able to sleep in here no problem. My feet were kind of just touching against the back tailgate here. But basically what I've done is I have just used, this is an REI inflatable sleeping pad that we've used for like motorcycle camping trips, and it fits perfectly in this space. And then I've got my -25-degree sleeping bag. And all of that combined, I was super comfortable. Now, it is a little bit narrow, obviously, but it's still totally workable. And the reason that I opted to just use the 40 split is because I wanted to be able to keep the refrigerator and keep everything that I needed to bring with me without having to take anything out when I go to sleep. Because we have friends who sleep inside their truck, and they have to take everything out to do it. Granted, there's two of them, and it would be the same if it was Christine and I here. But for me, this was only gonna work if I could just set up all my sleep stuff on one side and then have all of my supplies and everything else on the other side. And that part worked perfectly. The other thing that it allowed me to do, and this I am very excited about. By the way, while we're walking around, this is kind of my kitchen table setup. This is a tailgater tire table. These are super cool, just fit right onto the tire like that. And then I have my little Coleman camp stove, and I've got my water jug with basically a little sink going on there. So that's what I've been using to cook, and just a little counter space other than the rear tailgate. But what I really wanted to show you guys is this, because I haven't seen anybody do this before. This is what I'm calling my living room. Yes. So because I only used that part to set up my sleeping bag and sleep platform, this leaves all of this open. And so what I've done is I have pushed the driver's seat all the way forward. I bought off of Amazon, you can see it here, I bought this little foldable tray table thing. It's nothing special, but what it allows me to do is just mount my laptop here. So last night I had downloaded a couple of movies, and I hung out back here for probably about 3.5 hours, and I was incredibly comfortable. There's a ton of leg room with the seat pushed forward. The seats in the LX are super comfortable as it is. I've got my little drink holder down here. as well. And then I just brought a heated blanket with me, and I just threw that heated blanket on, and I was super warm in here and watched a movie and did some video editing and all of that. The other thing that this space allowed me to do, which was really nice, is it gives me a comfortable place to change. So if I just fold up this little tray, then I've got a ton of room where I can change in the truck before I jump in bed or before I get out in the morning. And then the last thing to note back here is I've got this little light that I bought off of Amazon. Again, this is nothing special, but it worked great. It's got 3 brightness settings. And so as I was just hanging out back here watching movies, it gave me the perfect amount of light to be able to do that. So yeah, anyway, that's basically the walk around, but I thought I'd share that with you because I haven't done an LX update in quite some time, and people are always asking what's going on with the truck. And while this isn't any big crazy modification, if you want to be able to sleep in your LX or your 100 series Land Cruiser, I would consider doing something like this. And if you don't have an SHW drawer system, there are of course other sleeping platforms that you can get on the market. But what I really think is key about this one is being able to just use the 40 split like I did on this trip, and just put your bedding on this one side because it leaves all of this open for, you know, a fridge or whatever else you have there. And of course the front seats kind of just, it's where I store my backpack and my clothes and all of that stuff. But this is kind of a little bit of a game changer for me when it comes to winter camping, because I really don't want to have to set a tent up. In fact, the place where I am right now is frosted over. The ground is all frosted over. So the prospect of sleeping on the ground in situations like that or in the snow really doesn't seem that pleasant, but sleeping in the truck is going to be super nice. And I should also note, it got down to about 28 degrees last night, and I was able to stay warm and stay comfortable in my sleeping bag with a few layers on. One other thing that is important if you are going to sleep in a truck, speaking of that, is you do need to sort of roll a couple of the windows down a little bit, because if you don't, you're gonna get a ton of condensation inside. And I found that the windows that work really well for this are these little side windows. So I would open those up, and that seemed to be enough, along with like cracking 1 or 2 of the other windows, to keep the condensation at bay. But anyway, I don't want this to be a super long video. Again, this is kind of just an informal walk around, but if you have any questions or if you saw something that I didn't mention or you're wondering how any of this works, then be sure to comment down below and I'll make sure to answer them. But I just wanted to share this with you because this is something I am super excited about, because it's gonna open up a lot more opportunities for me to easily get out and go solo camping in these winter months. And if you wanna know more about our Lexus LX470 build, then check out this video next, where I do a full walk around of all the modifications for off-roading and everything else that we've done to the truck. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.